Hi, my name is Evan Brenner, and I'm the Digital Content Coordinator at Geographic Solutions. Since late last year, our Pathways to Employment webinar series has showcased the outstanding work that our clients perform on a daily basis. In December, team members from Tulare County, California discussed how they're lowering recidivism with the TC Reset portal. In February, we heard from NC Works about how they virtualized service delivery at the height of the pandemic. In March, we heard from our clients at the New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions about how the Career Solutions portal became a leading statewide online career planning platform. In April, Bounce CEO and founder Maria Smith joined us to speak about using soft skills to bounce back after major challenges, cope with stress in positive ways, and build resilience in others. May brought us the story of the Connecticut Department of Labor and their Reemployment Driving Jobs First Employment Services Program. And July focused on the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment's use of the Colorado Labor Market Information Gateway to distribute state labor market information to a variety of entities. Today, we're pleased to present the next chapter in our Pathways to Employment series. In the summer of 2020, staff members at the Texas Workforce Commission and Workforce Solutions rural capital area faced a unique challenge as unemployment rose to 11% in the 9 counties surrounding Austin. This team saw an opportunity and, turning to a partnership with Metrix Learning, offered thousands of free courses and certifications to their residents. This effort positively impacted thousands of career-seeking Texans. A little housekeeping. Please submit questions and comments in the question window. The question window is found in the GoToWebinar side toolbar. We will discuss all questions at the end of the presentation. And now I'd like to introduce Karen Latta, Workforce Development Division Project Manager at the Texas Workforce Commission. Karen, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Evan. Thank you. Thank you, Evan, and thank you to GSI for hosting this webinar today. And welcome, everyone. Today, we will be talking about how the Texas Workforce Commission partnered with Metrix Learning to help Texas residents brush up on their skills and prepare for better employment opportunities during the COVID-19 pandemic. We will also hear from one of our local workforce development boards about how they are using Metrix with their local partners. So with me today, I have Diane Tackett, who's the COO for Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area, and Brian Lee, the CEO of Metrix Learning. Next slide, please. And I'll start with a little background. Like every other state, Texas saw a historic spike in unemployment insurance claims in April 2020 as a result of the pandemic. The Texas Workforce Commission saw the need to provide a range of services to support businesses and workers during this time. In June 2020, the Commission allocated funds to the statewide Skills Enhancement Initiative to offer rapid skills enhancement opportunities to UI recipients through a state-level partnership with an online learning provider. This initiative would allow Texans to brush up on their work skills and prepare for better job opportunities from home. TWC selected Metrix Learning to provide online learning resources to Texans. Next slide, please. So TWC used its emergency procurement authority to enter a contract with Metrix Learning. TWC chose Metrix for several reasons. They had experience with the requirements of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. They offered a fixed cost model with unlimited licenses. They already had a level of integration with GSI's virtual one-stop platform, which is the base for our Work in Texas job matching system. And they were able to offer immediate launch. So we opened our Metrix Learning portal to UI recipients within a couple weeks of signing our contract. Next slide. So some of the key components of our skills enhancement program. TWC issued a press release in June 2020 and launched our Metrix portal at the beginning of July. Metrix sent emails to 1.8 million UI recipients offering free access to more than 6,000 courses. TWC also did our own social media campaigns on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We provided training on how to use the Metrix system to our 28 local workforce development boards and asked them to help us get the word out to their customers about the opportunity. Metrix followed up with a survey to registered users and found 92% said it helped them gain skills. Later in the year, when TWC reinstated the work search requirement for UI recipients, we let them know that completing a Metrix course with a passing score counted as a work search activity. As a result, we saw a significant increase in the number of Metrix users completing courses. We also worked with our program staff to provide outreach on Metrix to parents in our child care program and the veterans that we work with. Next slide, please. So this slide shows some of our results from the first year of our Metrix partnership. We've had more than 76,000 individuals registered in the Metrix system. Around 75% of them have existing profiles in Work in Texas, which I'll talk more about in the next few slides. The average cost per individual is around $20, and the number of courses launched, they've launched over 300,000 and completed over 244,000 courses for training hours totaling more than 211,000. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the key components of this initiative was sending emails to UI recipients offering them access to Metrix. For those UI recipients with Work in Texas accounts, Metrix was able to include a customized link in their email. When the recipient clicked on this customized link, it would automatically register them in Metrix and link up their Metrix data with their Work in Texas account. We at TWC followed up on the Metrix emails with our own GovDelivery message to the UI recipients, letting them know that this was a legitimate offer. And we also did the social media campaigns that I mentioned. Over the past year, we have provided updated email lists to Metrix and done multiple rounds of emails to make sure we give all UI recipients the opportunity to sign up and take courses. Next slide. So in essence, we have 3 ways for customers to access Metrix. If you have a Work in Texas ID already, as I mentioned, we include a customized link in the email that Metrix sent out so that you could just click on that link and get right into Metrix. For those who don't have a Work in Texas ID already, their email from Metrix included a link to the portal where they could go and sign up by filling out a short registration form. That portal link was also included in our on our website and in our social media messages. And the third way is for those who already use Work in Texas, they can just go in to Work in Texas and there's a way in there for them to click on a link and automatically get registered in Metrix and go and start taking courses. So all 3 registration access points have worked really well for us. As I mentioned, we've had over 76,000 people register in the system and take courses. So next, I'll turn it over to Brian Lee with Metrix Learning to talk more about what they have provided to Texas.
Greetings from Albany, New York. I'm Brian Lee. I'm in my 48th year of my career, and I was reflecting this morning. I've finally gotten smart. I chose some brilliant partners in this engagement. TWC, Texas, when we asked, would you like to launch in 30 days? They said no, 1 week. That's a good partner. GSI, we've been working with for 4 years, absolutely delightful. And Rural Capital, we're blessed to be working with both Paul and Diane. So a little bit about our platform. We first launched it in 2008, ironically, in the height of the recession, way back when. So we've morphed over the last 13 years. This is a unique WIOA-centric platform. As previously stated, we are integrated with GSI. We offer over 6,000 courses, Spanish, Chinese. Most of the courses are mobile compatible. We also integrate many other solutions, including Connexa Prove It, and we'll talk a little bit about how we use that. In the system, we also have 10 career pathways, 200 in-demand occupations. We can do skill assessments and do automatic skill remediation. There is content leading to 130 industry certifications. And as Karen stated, all of our folks are directed to the Work in Texas GSI integration. Additionally, all of our programs can be used by the workforce boards and their community partners throughout the state. And the other thing I'll talk a little bit about is we introduced game-based learning throughout the state. What's unique about what we did was how we engaged in the email campaign. With offices closed, emailing out 1.8 million people without any staff involvement was rather unique. So we have 2 kinds of campaigns going on. One is those who are registered in the initial batch, 76,000 folks. We do behavioral emails based on their activity or lack thereof. Congratulations on completing your first course, badge. Do you need help? We do weekly webinars. And then lastly, features that folks might be interested in, career pathways, industry certifications, and as I mentioned, gamification. And we measure the efficacy of all of those emails. And then going back to the unregistered UI list, we just got a new batch of new UI recipients, and we'll send out emails, rather unique, about work search, certifications, and also about testimonials from fellow Texans. And then lastly, the gamification. We survey customers to see what they think about the solution. And as Karen said, most of the folks, a majority, felt that this solution helped them gain skills. Many of them were interested in industry certification. The courses are very good, easy to use without intervention. And then the support, we do very good support to all of our customers. When we did the surveying, we reached out to 80 folks to find out what their situation was, what they thought of the system. We videoed 10 folks, and we're going to show you one of our customers in Texas and what he had to say about the program.
Hi, my name is E.T. George, and I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm a Navy veteran. I was stationed out in Norfolk, Virginia out there, and after the Navy, I worked for many years in healthcare out there before moving back home to Houston. Moving back home around 2008 was pretty tough. The economy declined. It wasn't easy to find, a strong, stable position, but I did that, and I worked in oil and gas for about a decade here until this pandemic hit. My company was downsized, and even though I was essential personnel for a while there, I got the notice, like many others did, that my position had been eliminated. I added skills with Metrix, where I refreshed my HIPAA certification and different job skills that would help me gain an advantage in the healthcare job search. And I did land a job working with veterans, helping veterans with their healthcare. So
when we survey, we try to do videos of folks around the state, and we tried to do it by geographic balance, by ethnicity, by age, and it worked rather well. So in January of this past year, we went to Karen and said we would like to introduce game-based learning, mobile application. We were hoping to get 50 to 100 people to sign up. We went well over 3,000. The number of games played was extraordinary, and the survey was off the charts. So we were overwhelmed. And the other thing is, when you think about gamification, I wasn't sure what audience, what age this would appeal to. So over a third of our audience was middle-aged folks. Anyway, it worked incredibly well, new to us. So going into the further, we have many states who have requirements for whether it's TANF or whatever, how many hours of training you need to do a month. So the gamifications, the courses are short. So we combined them with more traditional courseware, and we've built out 6 digital badges that are 12 to 20 hours. And we think this applies to the 40% of the people who are lesser educated, underpaid. And we're delivering this in both English and Spanish. And you can see the 6 areas. I think the ones that resonate quite well are digital literacy, because a lot of the people who are trying to get higher paying jobs, that's an issue. Secondly, job readiness. So we think this is going to resonate all over the country. And what we'll work with our customers in Texas and beyond. And what we're asking for is the local boards to work with their chambers to have the employers recognize the efficacy of these badges. And we think this is unique. We're not aware of anybody else doing this kind of program in the country. And now I'd like to throw this over to Diane Tackett of Rural Capital.
Great, thanks, Brian. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Diane Tackett, and I'm the Chief Operations Officer here with Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area. One of the things that we really appreciated about the value that Metrix Learning brought to the table and the integration with the work that Texas Workforce Commission was doing in getting Metrix loaded and kind of connected with our online job search platform is that it offered us the opportunity to really be able to provide more career services to our unemployment insurance population. And after we looked at the partnership that TWC had with Metrix Learning over the course of several months, we looked at all the different trainings that were available in there, we really wanted to go to the next level with being able to provide this opportunity for our different stakeholders in the community. So we are looking at, we actually have the Metrix SKILLUP portal. We've had it implemented since June of 2021. And this is kind of an online portal that we're using to allow individuals to sign up for skills assessment and training and also do some career pathway exploration. This portal provides an opportunity for external community partners and stakeholders to provide no-cost workforce development solutions to their customers. Excuse me, to their customers. We can also work with school districts, libraries, other community organizations, and literacy providers. And we can get them connected with the SKILLUP portal so they can work with their local individuals and job seekers to help access these resources. The portal can be configured so that each community partner will be able to enroll their own customers. They can assign their own individual coursework and track progress and completion of those customers with that coursework. And then additionally, one of the benefits of the SKILLUP portal is that employers can also access information through the portal to provide information and complete surveys to help us identify what their hiring needs are. They can screen candidates for employment opportunities, and they can provide no-cost virtual training to their employees through the portal access. So as we were looking at the SKILLUP opportunities in integration, there's 3 apps that are kind of available in the portal that are really kind of interesting and helpful to the way we deliver services. The first is the ITA cost avoidance pre-screening tool. So if you're familiar with Prove It or some of the other assessment testing, what this does is allow us to work with our customers that are interested in career and training services, help us complete an assessment on what their readiness is to be able to participate in training opportunities, and allows us the opportunity to identify and get them connected with any other courses that might need to be taken in order for them to be successful in their training. So this is helpful for us prior to enrolling job seekers into training, because what we really want to do is make sure that their training plan is complete and comprehensive and they are set up to be as successful as possible. The next app is the candidate assessment or an employer assessment screening. So this application will help assign specific assessments to potential candidates to help the candidate determine if they possess the skills that are requested by employers. So they can kind of see where they stand in relation to what the employer needs. Then they're going to be able to go in and complete the coursework to help improve their skills. And then the third thing that's really interesting is the certification demand analysis. And so what's really interesting about this is this will show the demand for different skill sets and certifications. And we can break it down by different geographical areas. So we can see really what employers are looking for in those areas. And we can help connect our job seekers with those training opportunities to meet the demand that our employers have. And we can break it down by county. We can break it down by zip code. It's really kind of an interesting tool to help us evaluate how we're meeting the needs of our employers. Next slide, please. So as we talk about the community partners and how we're kind of making this available to all of our different partners in the community, we have currently worked with several members such as vocational rehabilitation. We've also worked with some of our literacy council partners in Williamson County. We've worked with a couple of our community action agencies, Austin Community College. We've worked with, and then some of our other local stakeholders that provide social services or other assistance to adults in the community. And this opportunity is made available to them at no cost. They can enroll their individuals in the different programs that are available. Also, if they have somebody who's just interested in doing the enrollment on their own, there's self-service enrollment as well, and it just allows us to track the referral from the community partner so that we can provide that feedback to the community partner on how their different stakeholders are accessing services. Our next phase of enrollment will include reaching out to school districts, other chambers of commerce and employers, and really kind of building the connection that way as well. Next slide. All right, so one of the things that we're really interested in looking forward to really being able to push out is the SKILLUP Job Readiness Badge. And this is part of what Brian had talked about just a few minutes ago. So this is a series of coursework. It's about 20 different hours of content, including entry-level skills and employment readiness. At the completion of this series of coursework, a badge will be provided to the job seeker that kind of indicates that this person has completed the prerequisites to be able to accept an offer of employment. And we're currently looking at piloting this with 2 different industry partners, some in advanced manufacturing and some in healthcare, to be able to support a rural healthcare initiative that we have going on in some of our more rural counties. So just a couple of quick pieces of information. When Metrix started enrolling unemployment insurance claimants in July of 2020, just the 9-county rural capital area had over 2,800 participants enroll for Metrix Learning courses. And because we saw such a benefit of customers self-enrolling in those courses, that led us to believe that if we really invested in the SKILLUP portal, that would help us provide the benefit to the community and provide the benefit to our employers that they're needing when they're looking to fill those positions quickly and efficiently, and ensure that the job seekers have the skills they need to be able to accept employment. And with that, I think I'm going to turn it back to Brian and talk about what's next.
This was all new to many of us. So the first year, the focus was obviously on the UI population, the 1.9 million. I think our opportunity year 2 is to fully engage and collaborate with the 28 workforce boards and getting them to have their local partners, as Diane just said. The Workforce Commission is very focused on well-paying jobs in the state of Texas, and there are 800,000 of them. So we will be focused on delivering certifications to over 1,200 people who come from that original 76,000 registrations. Many of the folks who did the training through us have completed over 90% of all the coursework necessary for sitting for an exam. So we think we're at the 1-inch line there. And funds will be allocated for practice tests, exam vouchers, and I'll talk a little bit about goals on the next page. And the other thing we're going to focus with TWC is sector-based training. We think we could do a good job with that. And as Diane and I both just said, the gamification, the SKILLUP badges, we think this is going to be unique and help, as I said, the lesser paid, the lesser educated people to get better paying jobs. So year 2, goals. So UI, last year we registered 76,000 people. What's unique is the economy is recovering. There's 50% less unemployment. So we're not going to get the same number of UI folks necessarily year 2. So we've set a goal of 40,000. We think we can stretch with our unique email, behavioral emails. We think we can get up to 55,000. The remaining total licenses will be our partnership with the 28 boards. So that's how our initial goal is 70,000. We think our stretch with both UI and the boards at 100,000. We think we can get there. Course completions will go up. The certification preparation that we talked about, we have over 1,000 people at the 1-inch line. We think we can get somewhere between 1,000 and 1,300 to to take the certification exam. Of those doing the certification, we think we can get a 90% pass rate and an 80% entered employment, and the cost of that certification will be 40% of traditional cost. Customer satisfaction, it's been good. We think we can get it higher. Marketing, promotion, we think we can do a good job with that. Entered employment, so as we said, the cost of this solution is $20 a person. So not quite the equivalent of an ITA. Minimally 40% entered employment. We think we can do 50% or better, as we say. And if we get 100,000 people in the system, the cost per delivery is $15 a person. Last year, we engaged with 2 workforce boards. We'd like to have a minimum of 20, and the stretch is 25. Each one of them, we're asking them to bring 3 partners to what we do, so somewhere between 60 and 75 partners. And then, as we said, the cost per registration, it was a little over $21 year 1. Year 2, we think we can get it to 15. So that's kind of where we were. And Evan, back to you.
Brian, Karen, Diane, thank you so much. This is very informative, and I appreciate your time. To the audience right now, I would say, please, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the question window, and we'll answer them, and we'll discuss them as we go along. I think some questions that I have, one is, as this partnership has flourished, have you seen, how has that looked with unemployment throughout the area and throughout the state? Have you been able to notice, trending down?
Diane, do you want to answer that in your area? I mean, I know overall, we, certainly our unemployment numbers have dropped as a result of the pandemic moving forward and hopefully coming out of it eventually. But if you could talk specifically about rural capital.
Sure. I think it's kind of twofold. As much as we look at seeing how this impacts unemployment, I think it's also really looking at the impact is on employers in the area and ensuring that they're getting the skilled candidates that they need, and the feedback from employers from the coursework that they've seen when they've hired candidates, I think is also an important indicator. There's many things that can affect the unemployment rate, but what we're really looking to do is make sure that we're kind of looking at addressing that middle skills gap. So we're providing the opportunity for our job seekers to be able to take these training courses so that they can accept offers of employment that they would not normally have been able to accept, and that we can see the impact through retention. And I think that's one of the things that we're really focused on looking to see as this project matures over time.
And another question I have is, what have been maybe some of the most valuable or important courses that you've seen folks take the most, or that have been the most popular?
Some of the most interesting courses we find are communication skills, getting along with other, some of the entry-level Microsoft courses, Word, etc. So those are some of the courses. Etiquette, basic writing skills, and then in the certification area, we see a lot of interest in the IT and project management, Six Sigma. So there are some of the popular courses.
Brian, thank you. And I have some questions from the audience now. So Dale asks, how long will this be available to customers? Is there an end date? So I don't know if he's in the state of Texas or not, but I guess that would be his question.
Yeah. So for the state of Texas, we entered our contract with Metrix last July, and we just extended it for another year. And so we will have the TWC Metrix partnership will be in place through the end of June 2022.
And Karen, if someone applies for a license of June of 22, that license will go out another 6 months. So potentially, in effect, the year renewal will lead for service, some degree of service for the next year and a half.
Thank you. And Roxy has a question. They ask, will there be more technical certifications provided in the future?
So we have 80 or 90 technical certifications. As the technology evolves, there'll be more. Obviously, things like network security, cybersecurity, AWS. So there'll be more coming on. We have new courses that are added every month and additional certifications quarterly.
Very cool. And I was, during the presentation, I noticed that you were talking about using how some folks use it on mobile, and I wondered, do you know who uses it more? Would it be mobile or desktop or combination of both?
I'd say a combination of both. I think as time goes on, we're going to see more of the mobile, clearly.
Thank you. Yes, and I do think that mobile is very important. How does Metrix compare or differ from other coursework providers such as Coursera, Allison, so on and so forth?
So I think Metrix, our solution is WIOA centric. And if you're in that field, you know what that means. So Coursera, for example, is a world-class company. Coursework comes from places like Stanford, University of Michigan. These are world-class universities. I would say two things. Many of the folks who need updating of skills, who go to the career centers around the country, are looking for soft skills, entry-level kinds of things. Not so much the coursework you get from the Cornell, MIT, Harvard necessarily geared towards them. Their content does not lead to a certification, and it's rather costly. So I think for probably 10 or 15% of the UI population, I think the Coursera platform resonates. I think we have more applicability across those looking for career services, and I think we have a wider breadth. Yeah.
Brian, thank you. How does Metrix Learning integrate into Virtual One Stop? And this would be a question from Tiffany, one of our attendees.
So we are inside of the GSI solution, so that any time someone is specifically in Texas with a work in Texas ID, if they're in our system, all the data flows from Metrix Learning automatically into work in Texas. So the integration is pretty tight. All the information flows into work in Texas. So it's a seamless integration. It's seamless to the customer. So.
Excellent. And Tiffany also asks, who is covering the cost in Texas, if that is something that can be approached or discussed on this call?
Well, the Texas Workforce Commission allocated funding for this through our WIOA statewide funding. And so that is what we did to enter our contract and provide Metrix statewide.
I would follow up on that question, and I thank you, Tiffany, with if somebody at a workforce development board in another state is looking to get involved with this type of program, how would you recommend that they do that? To some advice for somebody who's looking to secure funding and get involved with a program like Metrix Learning?
So Evan, we have 5 states now who are funding Metrix along the lines of what Texas is doing, and we suspect there might be another 5 before the end of the year. But I would ask anyone, we currently serve 67 boards in the country. It will be 127 or 17% of the national population by the end of the year. But anybody who has interest can reach out to us at metrixlearning.com. I'm at brian.lee@metrixlearning.com. We like to think of ourselves as consultants. We understand the business.
Very cool. And for somebody who's just like looking for advice, maybe they're trying to secure funding or going after some grants or something like that, to Diane or Karen, what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to do that in another state, at a local workforce board, or even a state one?
Diane?
Well, sure. I think one of the things about Metrix Learning is that a lot of the coursework is all part of kind of that career service, basic career service kind of level of service that's allowable under WIOA. So there could be options there looking at it that way. It really just depends on what your funding sources are, and kind of at this point, there's there's a lot of different economic recovery money also that is coming down to different cities and counties. So that could be an option to look at as well.
Evan, if I could just throw in, the federal government has a $90 million career service grant out there. $20 million was just awarded. There's another 70. Time is of the essence. The due date, I think, is give or take today. I just found out that 2 states we're familiar with have applied for that grant, and embedded in there is this solution.
Excellent. That's great information, and I appreciate you sharing that. Some other questions that we have are, what are the credentials of the instructors that are conducting the coursework?
So these are all online courses, and most of the courses are developed by a corporation called Skillsoft Corporation that the Fortune 1000 majority use. It's also used by the federal government. So these are not delivered by instructors. It's all online training. High quality. They're also backed up by support from Skillsoft Corporation, so someone can get online support for the content. And we think the quality and the price, give or take $20 a person for unlimited content, we think is pretty good value and is pretty effective.
Excellent, thank you. And then also for those for workforce boards that you've worked with, are the credentials or certificates recognized for WIOA criteria?
So that's always the first question. Are they industry recognized? And the answer is yes. The testing body typically is either a Prometrics or a Pearson or a PMI. So these are industry recognized certifications and count in the WIOA system.
And some folks are asking, is this only a Texas-based program? And I think we've covered this, but and also is Metrix a Texas-based company?
So Metrix started in New York State. Today we are calling from Albany, New York. We have workforce boards in 17 states who are using our solution, and we currently have 5 states that are mirroring what Texas is doing with great success.
Excellent, excellent, thank you. And Shauna asks for some follow-up, and she says, regarding the digital literacy game in general, the style learning platform, she'd be interested in see more about that made available for their state. And actually, if you could expand upon that, I did have a question regarding the SKILLUP badges. Are those available to be shared on different platforms? Say if you want to put that on your LinkedIn profile or in your signature of your email or something like that? I
think that would be ideal. And let me just speak, I didn't know what we were getting into with this gamification. As I say, I've been in business 48 years, so I'm a little older than a couple of people, but I read. Gamification seemed awfully interesting, and Texas was willing to give us a shot at this thing. We had no idea how exciting it would be, and then we had other customers like in Florida who said, if you add up all the gamification, it comes to about 4 hours. We need 41 hours. Then the concept to wrap around that to traditional content, and you can have leaderboards. So it's morphed into something interesting. We have a partner called One Huddle out of Newark, New Jersey, who's been instrumental with us. So we really didn't know what we were getting into. Texas took a fly on this with us, and we think we have something now that will help. The Urban Institute says 40% of all UI folks are that category of the undereducated, lesser paid. So those are the folks we think we can help with our boards. So we're having conversations in multiple states, Sacramento, California, Texas, and beyond, where we think this will have dramatic impact, especially for the people who need it the most.
Thank you. This question may be more towards Diane or Karen, but from on the employer aspect or from the employer angle, do you see a certain skill or certification that is requested a lot by employers in your area more than others?
Karen, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I think you are much better able to answer that question.
Sure. So from our perspective, what we're hearing from employers is they really are interested in the pre-employment skills and really being able to identify folks that have those soft skills ready to go day one. And some of the different employers that we work with just say that the work they do is so unique to their particular employer that if they know that somebody has the background of those soft skills, then they're willing to take a chance and bring that individual on board and do some in-house training to get the more specific advanced manufacturing or healthcare related skills that they might need.
Excellent. I also have a couple of questions from our attendee, Bob. He wanted to know what kind of analytics are you able to produce with Metrix Learning, and how are the courses promoted? Are they promoted directly to UI claimants?
So analytics, so Metrix provides TWC information every week about the number of people who are registered and the number of courses completed and the number of training hours completed. And various other things. I showed a few of those in my slide earlier. They can also tell us like the number of people who have completed a certain amount of coursework towards the certifications. They can tell us the top courses that people have taken. And there's a lot of reporting capabilities within the system that we can access ourselves, but then I can also always call on Brian and his staff to give me data as I need it. What was the second part of that question?
And then the second part is, how are the courses promoted, and are they promoted directly to UI claimants?
Mm-hmm. So yes and yes. We've been doing a lot of email directly to UI recipients, and both TWC has done that, but also Metrix has done a lot more of those emails to the UI recipients and then to the Metrix users to tell them about what's available in the system, what kind of courses that are there. TWC has always also been doing a lot of social media outreach on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, messages to promote, Metrix in general, but then also to, say here's some popular courses that are available, or reminder that you can use Metrix courses towards your work search requirements every week. And we have a lot of different messages that we've been putting out through social media, and then also working with our board partners to pass on that information at a local level.
And so what I think is interesting at the local level is we actually have the opportunity to be able to go in and kind of customize coursework for job seekers. So if we're looking to help an employer fill a certain number or type of positions, we can go in and identify some customized coursework that would be appropriate for job seekers to complete, and then be able to assign those to job seekers as well. And it's very easy to go in and change those out and create different little kind of packages of coursework. So that's helpful too at the local level, because it allows us to be much more responsive, much quicker to the needs of employers.
Excellent. And one question I have for everybody is, from the inception of this partnership to where it is today, what's the most interesting or most valuable thing that you've learned from just seeing this partnership go from the start to where it is now?
Brian, you want to start?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we deal with governments, and we understand the complexities that governments have to adhere to law, etc. So when we got engaged with Texas, and we said, as I said earlier, do you want to launch in 30 days? No, we do not. We want to launch next week. So as I say, I've been at this 48 years. When I speak to the folks in Texas, it rejuvenates all of us, because when they make a decision, and it's a good decision, it happens immediately. So couldn't ask for a better partner. So that's probably the most interesting thing with this partnership. And now we're involved with the renewal of year 2, rollout to the 28 boards, and the new certification program, which I think is going to be cutting edge nationally.
I think from the statewide perspective, being able to work with Metrix and also with GSI to get the two of our, these two vendors, get the two products to work together. And it really helped that Metrix already had a relationship with GSI, and we were able to work together because, it was important for us to see at a state level that the people who sign up in Metrix are then also able to see their Metrix data show up in their Work in Texas profile, and so that, all of that information is in one place. That was a good selling point for us, and it's been good to work with both vendors to make that happen.
And then I'll just kind of finish out from the local level, being able to bring this solution to different community partners and stakeholders, and being able to bring it to employers to offer, kind of a package solution all in one that's going to help to, kind of bridge the middle skills gap, bring the appropriate skill set to employers that they need, and be able to provide that feedback to us on an ongoing basis of who's utilizing the different trainings, what they're interested in. Is that matching the employer demand? Is there something else that we need to be doing to help our community partners also align with what our workforce development goals are in the community? Has been really helpful for us.
Thank you. I don't see any more questions, but this has been very impactful, and the information that has been shared here is very insightful, and I know that the audience is thinking that as well. There was a lot of questions that were submitted, and I believe we have covered all these questions. We will follow up this presentation with a resources page, which will have a recording of this today. We will put the transcription of those captions on there. And we will also put a PDF copy of the presentation so that you all can take a look at that at your leisure. And we will send those out to everybody who is on here, plus the folks who maybe couldn't attend, just so everybody knows where to find that. Brian Lee with Metrix Learning, thank you so much. And Karen with the Texas Workforce Commission, thank you as well. Diane with the Rural Capital Area, Texas with Workforce Solutions. Thank you so much for your time today. I don't see any more questions, and I think we can give it back a little more time to everybody for their day. And so with that, I will say my name is Evan Brenner. I am the Digital Content Coordinator at GGraph Solutions. I thank you all for your time today, and look out for more Pathways to Employment presentations in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Evan, and everybody.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Bye.